You give no information whatsoever on something that's obvious that there should be information. Like you outlined, like there's potentially footage of crooks at the shooting range. Again, Police 101, go get the tapes. Let's figure it out. If you don't want to address that question, then you go silent on it and you say, you can't ask that question, which then creates people who come out of kind of nowhere and they start drawing their own conclusions. Right. Then you've just, diverted all attention away from the thing that you're trying to conceal. And now everyone's focused on the crazies.
So Tucker Carlson interviewed Joe Kent, the head of the counterterrorism unit directly under Tulsi Gabbard, who resigned recently and said that he couldn't serve anymore in the Trump administration because they're being forced into wars that aren't threatening us by Israel. And this was all done for Israel, and Iran posed no threat to us. And so he sat down with Tucker Carlson, but he also talked about the assassination attempt of Donald Trump at Butler, Pennsylvania. Tucker Carlson asked Joe Kent why the Thomas Crook surveillance tapes haven't been released. Kent's answer blew him away. He explained the government deliberately withholds information to create noise with conspiracy theories, so the actual question never gets answered. And by the way, saying someone is a conspiracy theorist is admitting that your TV is just a substitute for your lazy yet fear-driven little brain. And I think it's a great answer, but I don't know why it blows anyone away. They've been doing this strategy for my entire life or so. And so it's
not a new thing.
So let's listen to him.
The current president was the subject of a near successful assassination attempt like recently.
Yeah.
And we're just not going to look into very obvious leads or divulge information that everyone knows they have. For example, the surveillance tape from the shooting range at which Thomas Crooks trained, because it would answer the question, was he training with somebody? And if so, who? They have that footage and they won't release it. What could possibly be the explanation for that?
I know what the result is. The result is people come to their own conclusions, and this is where like crazy conspiracy theories come from. And then those conspiracy theories usually are easy to debunk or make the people saying them sound crazy. So then the actual question never gets answered.
Right? I'm sorry. Can you say that for people who haven't lived in Washington? Okay. I try to explain this to people all the time because this has been ongoing since at least the Kennedy assassination. But this is a very serious and reoccurring thing. It's a tactic. And you just explained it better than anyone I've ever heard. Can you just do that again if you can recall it from memory?
Yeah, I mean, so basically you give no information whatsoever on something that's obvious that there should be information. Like you outlined, like there's potentially footage of crooks at the shooting range. Again, Police 101, go get the tapes. Let's figure it out. If you don't want to address that question, then you go silent on it and you say, you can't ask that question, which then creates people who come out of kind of nowhere and they start drawing their own conclusions.
Right.
Knowing the way the internet works, I mean, half of them, if not more, are probably going to be so far off in left field and made by legitimate kooks or bots that then you can just be like, oh, these people asking these questions about that tape at the video range.
It's space
They're
aliens.
All crazy conspiracy theorists. They say it's a UAP or whatever. And so then you've just, diverted all attention away from the thing that you're trying to conceal. And now everyone's focused on the crazies.
Man.
And then the second someone asks a legitimate question, they're crazy.
So now do you see how they did the same thing during COVID?
Who are these crazies, by the way?
They wouldn't release any of the data from they wanted to wait 75 years to let you know about the vaccine trial data. And then anybody who had a theory about it was a crazy.
Yeah, right.
And so if you asked a real question, then you're also labeled crazy. So they don't give any information so that people start to come up with theories and then they can say, you're crazy, that theory's great. And it's all done by design. So that's why they don't give you the information so they can make anybody who's asking legitimate questions sound like a crazy. It worked perfectly during Seth Rich. It worked perfectly during COVID. And it's working perfectly right now with Butler and with Charlie Kirk.
I wouldn't say perfectly. I would say it's degrading how well this works.
You're right. I would say
when
you're
you
right.
overuse it, it's not as effective.
They have overused it. You're right. And I've always said
about a foster kid who can withstand a lot of beatings now.
And I've always said about that Butler, Pennsylvania thing. I don't think that he was hit with a bullet in his ear. I think there was someone inside one of those speakers, and they shot him with a pellet. I think that's what happened.
So they had him just kill an innocent guy?
They had crooks. Yeah, crooks.
They had him just shoot an innocent.
Yeah, are you kidding me, Kurt? They're white.
No, I'm asking you that. I'm not saying that.
You mean the same people who on purpose bombed a children's school of girls? They wouldn't let one of Trump's MAGA people take a bullet?
What I'm saying is I 100% think that kid is one of these wind-up Sirhan toys, without a doubt. I have no doubt of that. My question is okay, did Trump's people set it up, or was this I think Trump there's more than one faction. There's more than one faction.
Trump was definitely in on it. Because he's not just what he's saying. Nobody will allow an investigation.
That's a good point.
Trump's in charge of that's what I said. As soon as Trump shut down the investigation into Butler, I knew he was in on it. As soon as you don't want to know who's trying to kill you,
Israel said, "I can't know."
That's right.
No, I think that's a great point. I didn't even think of that, but you're right. Who in the hell would do that when someone tries to kill them? Now, Max Blumenthal reported that they gaslit Trump that Iran was trying to kill him, and I remember hearing nonsense that Iran was somehow behind Thomas Crooks. Remember that?
Yeah, remember that? Yes.
So, okay, so let's say Iran tried to kill Trump. Why would he not say that part? Why would he not investigate that and put that evidence out there?
Why exactly? If it was actually an Iranian plot to kill Trump, wouldn't Trump could just use that for a justification to go into Iran?
More MAGA would be with him than are with him now.
That's right. So, so the strategy is hide the facts, let the internet go feral, then discredit everyone asking questions. Clean, effective, and honestly, kind of sinister. Vigilant Fox says, "Yep, pretty much."
By the way, going feral, I just want you to know, if you're tweeting, you haven't gone feral. You're a nerd. Secondly, you see how they have us set up to go, then they let people just go crazy?
Yes.
Is that as bad as bombing kids? I don't feel like it is.
I don't think it is.
I think I can say whatever the fuck I want is what I think.
Here's what Nicholas Quantas says, normal people have no education in PSYOPs and psychological warfare tactics. We didn't even know we were inside of a psychological warfare operation until we woke up. And now, at this show anyway, we've realized we're living in a PSYOP. Everything is a PSYOP. Everything you thought.
As they said they would do. As the guy, I think, who's dead now, Colby, the CIA guy, or who's the guy from the CIA when you don't believe anything that's real, we did our job.
Yeah.
Why is the CIA allowed to exist? Does anybody think we should have one? I know Scott Horton got what's his name? God rest his soul. Not Horton. Scott Adams was a big believer in it, but I'm not, Jimmy. I feel like they should have been abolished back when they murdered the president.
Yeah, the CIA. Yeah, I'm all for abolishing the CIA.
I mean, fuck that organization. I don't. What good do they do? Oh, you never hear about our victories, only our loss. Fuck you. Like, really fuck everything you've ever done.
Here's a good example of the stuff they won't investigate. New photo emerges of Crooks, the alleged shooter at the Butler assassination attempt. He's communicating with an unidentified individual / agency right before he began firing.
Kirk, I bet.
Who is the lone gunman communicating with? Well, with his MK Ultra handlers, I'm going to guess.
Probably that. Pastor Rob McCoy. Or
how about Pastor Rob McCoy? Or maybe his parents, who are both behavior modification therapists.
Yeah.
And
you never hear about it.
And didn't his father work for the military, Kurt?
Wow. A couple who are behavioral modification therapists who work for the military, whose house was scrubbed of every last bit of evidence, which is public knowledge. That's not a secret thing. You think that's suspicious? Because I don't. I think you should shut up.
I think what he's talking to Grok right there. He's doing voice to text for Grok, and he's saying, "Hey Grok, am I a patsy assassin?"
And Grok is going, "No, you're not. There's no such thing.
That's a conspiracy theory."
Grok is huffing at him. Grok huffed at me. Ha! No, it isn't. Grok, who told you to act like you're a person?
Let's remember what Charlie Kirk had to say.
And we still don't know what happened on July 13th.
We certainly don't. At Butler. That's exactly right. Why don't we know that? Do you know?
So we still don't know what happened at the Butler. And we're never going to know, by the way. We're never going to know. But here's what Charlie Kirk says.
I don't know. And I know that we have the right. We could not have better people in those positions.
At the top.
Like, you know Dan Bongino well. I could speak very high for his integrity.
Oh, I love Dan. Yeah.
And so.
This was before Dan did a year at the FBI lying to everybody. So everybody, I thought Dan Bongino, I believed it. I thought Dan Bongino was going to do a good job when he got in there because of all the shit he talked for 5 years straight. Just like I thought Trump was, and Tulsi Gabbard and J.D. Vance. Yeah, it doesn't make you a sucker because they have a track record. All those people actually have a track record. Trump didn't start any wars in his first term. Tulsi Gabbard absolutely stepped down from the Democratic National Committee. She actually took all the slings and arrows to tell the truth about Syria. She actually was against the war in Venezuela, against the war in Iraq. She was all this stuff.
If you remember, Jimmy, the election was between a guy who said he wasn't going to do any of this
and
a woman who wouldn't tell you a single thing except she likes Doritos.
Yes, yeah. So let's keep going. So, but now I'm sure they wouldn't. I'm sure Tucker, and if Charlie was here, would have certainly a reassessment of Dan Bongino. Well, let's listen to what else he said.
No, they need to act on this.
Yep.
And I don't have much more to say than that, but I don't know.
FBI needs to, and I think
specifically the FBI on that.
Yeah, and the FBI stonewalling, and it's not Bongino, it's not Kash Patel, it's that I know of. I mean, I don't know actually, but I know that they're stonewalling.
Yeah, it actually turns out it was them. So I'm with you, Tucker. You didn't want to believe it, but now we have to believe it. We have to believe it.
On that, I think it's very weird. They still can't get into Crooks' devices.
The whole thing is so bizarre.
Really, because they can read my text messages, I notice.
No, they can read your signal messages.
And they have.
Which is even worse than text messages.
I haven't even shot anybody.
I will, you're not Dick Cheney. I will go a step further. I try to not spend too much time on July 13th.
Yeah, I agree.
It's bad for my brain.
I totally agree.
It's so weird. It's so bizarre. I like spending time with my wife and my kids. And I try to have a very focused subset of issues that I get passionate about.
That's how I feel.
Things that I can't get to answers on will drive me endlessly insane. So I want one day to find out what happened on July 13th because by only the grace of God and by a millimeter is Trump alive and is Trump president.
If you can murder presidential candidates, it's not a democracy, obviously. So
and get away with it.
And get away with it, right? But they just can't get into his devices. I mean, he had no social media profile.
How did he get on the roof and how was it unguarded? And then it was 2 days before the Republican National Convention. It felt, again, if you were to kind of go in a dark place, which again, this is all speculation, it felt like, well, this is our last chance before he's the nominee.
Yep.
Because you know what happens once you're the nominee? You get Secret Service protection.
Yep.
And this is an unknown element of this. Literally, as soon as you get to become the nomination, by bylaws of Secret Service, whatever, you get equal presidential protection. So he had a bunch of like DHS hangovers, no offense to the people that were protecting him on the day of Butler, some of which did a great job, some of which are not people I would necessarily, go to war with. No, just, more the TSA agent mold than the Secret Service agent mold. And again, it's not a criticism of them. So if you want to get like really dark and go in that direction, you have to ask those questions. But I try not to focus too much on Butler because I think it leads you in a place where you ask more questions than we have answers.
What?
So, wow, that aged really well. And the bad news, the bad news for the producers of bad news coverage, this is bad news for them. When we find out something like this and then realize that the mainstream news said not one word about it, it leaves them with a mark that doesn't come off with a bath. I mean, the mainstream news has definitely lost the room. So there you go. That's thanks for Joe Kent speaking out and telling the truth that they weren't allowed to investigate Charlie Kirk. They weren't allowed to investigate the Butler shooting. They're not allowed to. And the whole point of it is so that people go out and speculate, and then they can make anybody who speculates it to be a crazy. And then when someone asks the real question, they can also be considered a crazy. And that's how this works.
If you want that to work, you got to not give me an explanation that's more crazy than the craziest thing I could ever come up with.
That's right. Yeah.
That's all. I don't know how they.
The craziest conspiracy theory is that it was a lone nut who was in love with the tranny or trans person. And I know I'm not supposed to say that.
Who gives a shit? They eat kids. Everybody better shut the fuck up about that shit forever after this. Fuck you.
And a 30-06 didn't happen. That didn't happen. The guy didn't get up. He didn't somehow magically appear on a roof for a couple of minutes and no one see him. He changed his clothes up there. He had to assemble a rifle, put it together, put the scope on, line up this thing, take the shot, and then he got away. He took it apart. He took the gun apart before he got off the roof. Are you kidding me? Really? So nobody's running after this guy to arrest him? He's up on top of a roof? He just shot? Of course, that's
if you believe in the left and right bullshit still, you are a hair away and not very much, like a little daylight between you and a moron that wears a mask still.
Yeah.
You're that level of dumb cow.
So if you, I'd say Joe Kent right now, American hero. So I want to say, even though I might disagree with him on a lot of things, what he's doing right now is American hero worthy. And if you'd like to hear my jokes about this, and I've got them, come see me in San Antonio this Thursday. I'll be in Albuquerque, Houston, Dallas, Salt Lake City, Las Vegas. May 7th, that's a Thursday. I'll be in Burbank, California. And then I'll be in Tulsa, Oklahoma, Spokane, Tacoma, go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets. Hey, we'll be in San Antonio, Albuquerque, Houston, Dallas, Salt Lake City, Las Vegas, Burbank, California. That's on May 7th. That's a Saturday. Then we'll be in Tulsa and Oklahoma City, Spokane, Tacoma. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for all those tickets. See you there.